Okay, what's up guys? It's Russel Orhii, aka Russwole, aka the Necklace Wonder. Now, I want to kind of discuss a couple things here in this video when it comes to squatting and working out your abs. So the first thing we're going to discuss is obviously the squatting. Going back, I was a football player. So as a football player, whenever you're in the weight room, the main focus is to lift as fast as possible. Like technique was kind of thrown out of the window. Like you want to lift aggressively and with speed. So going into powerlifting, that's what I continue to do. I tend to practice bad habits. So whenever I was squatting, I try to, the term is called dive bombing, but I'll try to squat as fast as I possibly can. So that meant dropping the weight and trying to explode back up as fast as I possibly could, because that's what I was used to whenever I was playing football. Same thing with bench. You know, you drop the bench and kind of just like allow it to hit your body and then push back up. And these are things that I'm trying to kind of take away as I progress in the powerlifting world. So I want to discuss, you know, dive bombing, right? So up until last week, I'd basically dive bomb most of my squats, and that created a whole lot of inconsistencies whenever I was squatting. So I'm gonna show you guys what dive bombing looks like versus what controlling my squat all the way through looks like. So basically, whenever I'm dive bombing, that means I'm just dropping the weight. Like I'm not controlling the eccentric portion of the lift. I'm just dropping the weight completely. And that can create some inconsistencies because whenever I move up to heavier weight, I might dive bomb and I might hit a different angle. Like just because I'm dropping the weight, I'm not controlling it. So I might hit a different angle. Maybe like this quad has to work a little bit harder than that one in order to get the weight back up. However, when I come down in a more controlled if I come down in a more controlled manner, I'm able to control the weight, make sure I'm getting consistent lifts every single time, and that is going to help me move heavier weight a lot more easily. You know, Joey pointed this out to me. Once again, Joey Flex is my new coach. He pointed this out to me whenever I started working with him about 2 weeks ago. He's like, hey man, you're a strong guy, you're pretty lean. So what I want you to focus on is controlling your squat on the eccentric portion of the movement. Eccentric just means whenever you're going down. So he noticed that I dive bombed, and that was like just the way I learned how to live. I was comfortable with dive bombing, but dive bombing is going to create inconsistencies, like I said earlier, and it could also lead to injuries. Like you guys know, the most important thing for me whenever it comes to strength building is being consistent and making sure I don't get injured. So dive bombing can possibly just take away everything that I work towards. So it's very important that I make sure that I practice being consistent and controlling the weight on the eccentric portion of the lift. So that's what I did whenever I was squatting for it today. Today I had a top set of 1 rep at RPE 6, and that ended up being 570 pounds. As you guys notice, once again, I'm controlling the eccentric portion of the lift and then exploding back up. Now, it looks a little bit slower, but the weight, honestly, it's feeling way lighter. After that, we moved on to 3 sets of 7 at RPE 6 to 7 with 495 pounds. Once again, as you guys notice, I'm controlling the eccentric portion of the lift and exploding back up. So once again, this is gonna help create consistency within my squat, and it's gonna keep me from injuring myself whenever I get on the platform. If you guys are looking to stay safe in the gym whenever you're squatting, I would recommend controlling the eccentric portion of your lift. Do not dive bomb into a squat. You know, for me, I don't want to get injured. Like that's the main part of building strength for me. I feel like I could build strength over a long period of time. I just have to make sure that I'm consistent and not getting injured. Right now, we are currently moving on to bench. I have a 3x8 at a RPE 7 to 8 or 6 to 7, which comes out to 315 pounds on the bar for me. So another thing that I want to focus on whenever I'm benching is making sure that I'm creating a longer pause, because once again, going back to Joey Flex, he told me that maybe Like my bench is fine. The only thing I need to focus on more is that I'm holding the pause a little bit longer. I tend to kind of come down right here, and I guess I don't respect the weight enough, so I just push it back up. Like I'm so used to just like touch and go in a sense, and I'm like, it's okay. Whenever I'm in a competition, I'll get the pause down, but I need to practice how I play. So the pauses are going to be longer in competition, so why not practice that? So once again, it's a little bit of a transition for me, but I'm trying to consciously make an effort to making sure that the pause is maybe 1.5 seconds to maybe 2 seconds. So we have a 3x8 at 315 pounds on bench. Okay guys, the last thing I want to talk to you about is ab training. So this is something that has been beaten over your heads in the fitness community for a very, very long time. But I want to give my take on training your abs. So you hear a lot of people talk about you don't need to train your abs in order to have popping abs. And I never work my abs. It's all about diet. And this is true if you're talking about straight up aesthetics. However, I think people don't realize how important it is to make sure that you have a strong core. So let's take into the fact that, first of all, whether you know it or not, you're actually working on your abs pretty much every single time that you step inside of the gym. There's something called direct ab training and there's indirect ab training. And indirect ab training is when your core is involved with whatever your movement you're doing. So if you squat, if you bench, if you deadlift, if you do things that are engaging your core, that means you're working out your abs. So I always cringe just a tight bit whenever people say that they never ever work out their core. They may not be working it directly, but they are getting some indirect work whenever they step inside of the gym to work out. So you guys are currently watching me go through like a 5-minute direct ab training routine. It just involves weighted crunches and hanging knee ups. But I'm going to tell you guys why I think it is very important to work out your core. So as you guys know, I am a powerlifter and I like to categorize myself as an athlete as well. So part of being athletic and being a powerlifter is the fact that I need to have the ability or have to have a strong enough core to protect my spine. So I think that, of course I get the indirect ab training when I'm doing my heavy squats, my heavy bench, and my heavy deadlifting. But I want to make sure that I'm taking it to the next level, I'm taking it to the next notch, and I'm constantly working out my abs. Basically what I'm trying to say is that I train my abs for the purpose of performance. Now, training your abs isn't going to necessarily make them extremely thick or change the actual shape of your abs. There are people that have 8 packs, there are people that have 10 packs, there are people that even have 12 packs. All of that is genetic. Like, just because I train my abs, I can't take a 6-pack to an 8-pack. I have what I have, and when I get lean enough, they'll show. So once again, guys, I train my abs for the purpose of performance, the purpose of being an athlete. I want to maintain my athleticism. I also want to make sure that I'm able to protect my spine at a moment's notice. As a powerlifter, a stronger core could only be beneficial for me. If I have a stronger core, that means I'm able to push against my belt more, and that might equal me lifting more weight on squat, bench, or deadlift. Now, I want to talk about something that, for whatever reason, it's still a little bit confusing to most people, but I want to talk about, fat distribution in terms of having abs. So, you guys are looking at me right now showing my abs, and you guys are probably thinking that I'm like, 10% body fat or something like that because my abs are showing. I want to get the point across that, fat distribution is a real thing and it's genetic. So you guys are watching this clip. As I gain weight and as my body fat goes up higher, I do not tend to store a lot of fat in my abdominal region. Most of my fat is stored in my back and in my legs. So whenever I get bigger or whenever I gain more weight, I lose definition of my back and my legs become, I lose definition of my back and in my legs. So to conclude this voiceover, I just want to kind of hammer away the fact that you cannot control where you're going to be storing body fat. Genetically, I tend to store my body fat on my back and on my legs, and you can't change that. And you also cannot change the shape of your abs. So I implore you and I beg you to train your abs, not for the aesthetic purpose, but for the purpose of overall health and performance. You don't want to go through life with a weak core. So whether you know it or not, you're training your abs almost every single time that you go inside the gym, whether that's direct or indirect. I choose to work them out every single time I step in the gym, whether that's through my compound movements or whether that's at the end of my workout whenever I isolate them with certain lifts. Okay guys, we have come to the conclusion of this video. So I just wanted to give you guys some information about what I'm doing in my training right now. So hopefully you could go ahead and apply it to make your lifts that much better. But there's a couple things I want to announce, or at least there's one thing I want to announce before I end this video, and that is that the Rise and Grind t-shirts are done. I'm going to be picking them up tonight, and they should be releasing sometime next week because there's a couple of bank stuff that I need to take care of before I release them. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I wanted to keep it short and simple so you guys can take away information and have it applied to your own training. So this video is coming to an end, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like always, if you guys like this video, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Get better today. I'm out. Percocet, Miley Percocet, Percocet, Miley Percocet.